Okay, so I think it's fair to say it's the holiday season, and I do mainly stick to animated movies on this channel, but technically this film is a form of animation. Christmas movies for me is what make the holiday season, and The Muppets Christmas Carol is a film I have watched every year on the 24th of December for as long as I can remember. So please excuse me as I am reviewing this film without seeing it since, well, last year. But The Muppets Christmas Carol, simply put, is the greatest Christmas movie there is. I'm sorry, I usually prefer opinions on this channel, but it's a fact. It's funnier than Elf, it's better than Home Alone, and it's way more welcoming than It's a Wonderful Life. And for the record, I love all of those movies, by the way. But A Muppets Christmas Carol is the best, and I'm going to tell you why. Hi there, it's me, the Average Critic. Happy holidays, everyone, and let's talk about A Muppets Christmas Carol, the best Christmas movie. Okay, so on release, this film didn't really do as well as I thought. It was well received at the box office, but at the time it was receiving scores around 75%, which, you know, if you've seen this movie, that's kind of low for this film. But A Muppets Christmas Carol is a classic telling of the Charles Dickens novel, with all of your favourite Muppets characters playing some of your favourite characters from the book. Kermit the Frog is Bob Cratchit, Waldorf and Statler play Marley and Marley, Gonzo plays Charles Dickens, and Rizzo plays himself. But if you think that's not enough to entice you, we have the legend that is Michael Caine as Scrooge. Every Muppets character feels like a fun extension of not just their own Muppets character, but also the original character from the novel, blending them into one to make it feel a little bit more natural. Who knew that Gonzo could be such a great narrator, or Kermit could play such a kind and straight playing character? The Muppets don't stand out for being the Muppets. They feel real, they look real, and they are real. And this blend of not making the Muppets as comical as they have been in the past makes for a wonderful and genuine performance you didn't think you would want from a Muppets movie. And then of course we have Michael Caine as Scrooge, and he plays it very, very seriously. He even told the directors, and I quote, "I'm going to play this movie like I'm working with the Royal Shakespeare Company. I will never wink, I will never do anything Muppety, I am going to play Scrooge as if it was an utterly dramatic role and there are no puppets around me." And that right there sets you up for what I think is the perfect formula for a Muppets movie. One problem I do have with the modern Muppets movies is they are played way too hard for humour. They usually accompany this by having comedic actors joining them, and I never saw the reason why Muppet movies needed to have comedic actors with them. They're the Muppets, some of the most universal and funny performers we have ever had. Combining that with funny actors just leaves the whole film feel pointless with no weight. But similar to something like Tim Curry in A Muppets Treasure Island, which is definitely a future video in the making, by the way, guys, this combination of the other actors playing the roles more seriously makes the Muppets feel funnier, and it makes the film have way more depth and meaning. And I can see why in today's world that corporate film groups must sit in a board meeting thinking, why should we take a Muppets film seriously? It's a frickin' Muppets movie. But that's precisely why you should, because it makes the Muppets funnier. You see, when you have other actors playing the other roles very seriously, it heightens the entire situations when the Muppets are doing something funny, creating a brilliant contrast of serious and comedy. And with a lot of Muppet movies, we get some wonderful musical songs. The Muppets aren't strangers to musical numbers, with some songs like Rainbow Connection being in the top 40 in November 1979. There is always something very musical about Christmas, as we all know, but Muppets Christmas Carol has some incredible music with some amazing lyrics, to the introduction of Scrooge and the wonderful It Feels Like Christmas, which somehow tugs at your heartstrings to really get you in that Christmassy mood. Music from Muppet movies has always been overlooked, mainly because, you know, it's the Muppets. And yet anyone who is a massive fan of this show knows that some of the songs have been written by some incredible artists. The Muppets Christmas Carol songs have been done by Paul Williams, who is a legend in the music industry. I think just because these characters are silly puppets doesn't mean they can't create some amazing performances, in which this film, there are some beautiful and heartfelt moments, especially when it comes to the music. Also, listening to After All There's Only One More Sleep Till Christmas on the 24th of December is just the most perfect way to hype you up for Christmas morning, especially when I was a kid, and even more now.
Yes! 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 Come to Papa!
I usually talk about the animation of a movie on this channel, but there is animation in this movie. The colourful animation of the Muppets contrasts incredibly well with the darker tones of the movie. The bobbing up and down as they move and the expression these velvet hand puppets create make for some of the funniest moments as well as some of the most heartfelt ones. Watching Bob Cratchit sing along with his son, knowing full well how poor he is, giving him this wonderful positive nature that we know from this character. We even see a very serious moment as Bean Bunny shivers in the cold, and I never thought I would get such a warming sensation when a character like Beaker does such a simple act of kindness as giving Scrooge his scarf. If you know anything about Charles Dickens, you know that he was never shy about having a much more darker style of storytelling. Most literations of this story delve very much into the darker style, but they never really understand the true nature of the ending, with a person who uses Christmas as a way to accept his past to create a better future. This is what this version does incredibly well, as the ending of course is so uplifting. We go through this entire adventure with Scrooge, seeing him go through some seriously dark stuff. So when we get to the end, it's that much more uplifting. You would think these darker tones wouldn't mix well with the Muppets movie, but just as much as Michael Caine plays the role incredibly straight, so do the Muppets. While they aren't shy from telling the occasional joke, when things get serious, they get serious. Muppets are family-friendly characters, but the film doesn't ever try to mask the darker tones for the younger members of the audience. It uses the Muppets as a brilliant segue for those darker tones, showing how characters like Tiny Tim is sick and dying, but through a more animated form is a brilliant way to showcase it without dumbing it down, creating once again an incredible contrast that blends well into each other. What always strikes me about Christmas movies is how often they divide us. As much as this is my favourite film, I know for a lot of people, Elf is seen as the best Christmas movie. Or for some, it's Love Actually. And of course we can't forget about It's a Wonderful Life. And as much as all these films have different styles when it comes to the type of Christmas movie they are, I know for a fact that some people will be put off by how old It's a Wonderful Life is. Even though you shouldn't, that film is absolutely gorgeous. And Love Actually is really a film about love set during Christmas rather than being about Christmas itself. And I know some people aren't a fan of the whole Will Ferrell style of humour, so that is going to put off a lot of people. But this is where A Muppets Christmas Carol kind of soars to perfection. Firstly, the story is probably the most famous Christmas story known to man. The whole point of the story, yes, may be about Scrooge, but it has deeper meanings about what Christmas is meant to be. The Muppets are a universal group of characters you can't really hate, but I don't think I've ever met anyone who says that they hate the Muppets. And how could you? They're fun and enjoyable and uplifting. A Muppets Christmas Carol tells the most heartfelt story with a sprinkling of magic that you get from animated films. And while it's not computer animation, the Muppets have a lovely sense of honesty, innocence, and heartfelt style that plays incredibly well to this story's themes. I think a lot of family films can learn from this film, as just because you have characters who, yes, are known for perhaps being a little bit silly, it doesn't mean they can't tug at your heartstrings at the same time. The sense of joy I get from watching this film every year makes for a very special experience, as not only is it a wonderful film filled with laughter and jokes galore, but it reminds us of a deeper meaning of Christmas, how a person can redeem themselves and their actions by accepting their past through a great holiday that is filled with joy and laughter. So after all that, it gets my professional and my personal rating of 10 Jingle Bells out of 10. It's the holiday season, everybody, so let's get a little bit silly, even with our ratings of Christmas movies. So thank you so much for joining me in this video. Let me know in the comments section what is your favourite Christmas movie. I will also be doing only one more video of this year before I do take Christmas off. I will be reviewing Chicken Run 2, Dawn of the Nugget, so look forward to that. But happy holidays and Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas and a great time during all this happy holidays. Get all your Christmas shopping done, and I will see you all in the next one.